Hello YouTube, how you doing? It's Low Power once again. I just want to do another basketball video. In this video, I want to talk about something that I've come to realize that is a problem when you debate people on basketball. It's this romanticizing of certain players and eras. What I mean by romanticizing is, we look at players that we hold fondly, and we're no longer thinking objectively. We just over exaggerate things. We only concentrate on the good things they've done, and they become like these mythic creatures who are beings who never made mistakes, who never failed and things and stuff like that. Prime example, I remember a few years ago, Adam Morrison was being compared to Larry Bird, and after they lost this game, he fell down in the middle of the court, started crying, and people were like, Larry Bird would never do that. Larry Bird would never cry, and he's no Larry Bird. Now, don't get me wrong, he's no Larry Bird. He's proven that, but he did style his game after Larry Bird. He did play like Larry Bird while he was in college. But guess what, people? Larry Bird did cry when he lost against Magic Johnson in the NCAA tournament. So it's stuff like that. LeBron James walked out. Larry Bird walked out when they beat the Pistons. Now people say it's for security reasons or whatever, but there's no proof that he congratulated anybody on Detroit Pistons when he walked out. So people say, want to dog out LeBron James for doing that. Like I said, I've seen games where all these guys, almost all these players after the game, they done lost. Depends on how they feel. They might feel upset. They might walk straight to the locker room. That happens. Now we can go to what the Pistons did when they walked out. I'm a Detroit Pistons fan. I ain't a Detroit Pistons fan right now, but back then I was a Detroit Pistons fan. I lived in Detroit. I was raised in Detroit, and with Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons did, everybody talk about it was so despicable and all this stuff. But Michael Jordan disrespected the Pistons in the media the whole time, saying they were thugs and they didn't deserve their championships. The Celtics and Lakers deserved theirs, the Pistons didn't. So he did that, and the other Bulls players like Horace Grant were putting them down and other stuff. So they lost, and also Michael Jordan went to the league office and they basically started calling the game differently. What the Pistons did to Jordan, the Celtics did to the Pistons. The Pistons did the same thing to the Celtics, and the Lakers did to the Celtics. But they start changing the way the game was played. So Isaiah and them didn't feel like they were getting respected by the Bulls, so they didn't get them respect. As a Pistons fan, I felt the same way. They didn't deserve. They shouldn't have shook their hands. But as sportsmen, like, you want to be the better person, and as a Christian, I understand you're supposed to be the better person. But when it comes down to things like that, if somebody's not respecting you, don't respect them, you're not being a better person, but you don't owe it to them. You don't owe respect to a person that doesn't show you respect. The Detroit Pistons did not owe Michael Jordan respect, so everybody got mad about it because Michael Jordan was the man at the time. But if you look at it from their perspective, it's very understandable why they walked out. But anyway, on this romanticizing player thing, I get in debates with people. Everybody knows I'm a big Shaq fan, but I get in debates with Akeem Olajuwon fans who act like Akeem would never do this. Akeem would never get swept and not be competitive. Then I go show them that that's not true. And then, they make up excuses. People would say, if he was great, then he wouldn't have got swept so many times. And I mean, all the greats in the 80s, all of them got swept. All of them. All the greats in the 80s have had series where they haven't played good. So when people come down on LeBron James for not having a good game 6 and act like that show he's not ready or he's not on Michael Jordan level. Michael Jordan had bad games in the playoffs against the Detroit Pistons. But LeBron James has been to the finals before, people. He did come through against the Detroit Pistons and score like 49 points on them. Came through in the overtime and beat them in 6 games. He has done it before. So people romanticize players. Larry Bird, Larry Bird has been swept in the playoffs. He got swept one year by the Milwaukee Bucks. He did not play well. When the Pistons finally beat him, he did not play well. He shot 35% from the field in that series. Kobe Bryant, some people want to compare Kobe with LeBron. I mean, just last year, Kobe didn't play good in the finals. All these guys had bad games, bad series, make mistakes during their time in the league. Shaq, yes, he had failings in the playoffs, but he had successes. Why do you want to concentrate on his failings? I don't understand that. You want to romanticize certain players like Hakeem Olajuwon. He done failed a lot in the playoffs. Same thing. Magic Johnson, he played bad in a couple finals. He made some mistakes against the Celtics the first time they lost against them that you could put the loss on him. All these guys had their growing pains. All these guys who have won at times have failed at times. All these guys have failed more than they have succeeded. All of them. Because nobody's a perfect player. There's people as close to perfect as can come. But to sustain perfection and greatness over a long period of time, every time, it's impossible. No one does it. No one does that. Now, the only person you could say who's won just about every time is Bill Russell. I think he played 13 seasons. He won 11 times. So that's it. Nobody else. Wilt Chamberlain failed a lot. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar won 6 championships, but he never won one without a great point guard. He had Oscar Robertson when he won his first one, and then it took him a long time to win the next one, and that was when he got Magic Johnson, one of the best players ever, 2 of the best players that ever played the game. So all these players needed help. Now, Hakeem Olajuwon, the first year they won the championship, he didn't have a star player on his team, so he deserves a lot of credit for that. Amazing player, but the next year he had Clyde Drexler, so to say he didn't have another star on his team is lame, because that's not true. The first year you could say that, but they still had a good team. They had a right blend for him. They had the right type of guys to complement him on the offensive end and the defensive end, because he got a lot of help on the defense too when he's guarding people that could score in the paint. You go back and watch the tapes, and that's what I've been doing lately, actually researching these people, actually watching the games, and there's a reason why certain things happen and why certain players struggle against this guy and that guy. If they getting help against this guy, they struggle. But if this guy's getting one-on-one, because his teammate is going to make the open shot, the other coach may say, okay, let this guy, if he scored 30, he scores 30. But we're not going to let everybody else get off. So that's a reason why certain things happen. It depends on what type of blend you have on your team. But anyway, can we stop with all the romanticizing? There's not a player who ever played this game who was great all the time, every time. Even with, let's take Bill Russell. Played on a great team. Guy even coached the team and played at the same time, won a championship. He gets all the props in the world. But when he actually played against Wilt Chamberlain, he didn't lock up Wilt Chamberlain. But if you listen to the people, the old timers, they act like Wilt Chamberlain would get shut down by Bill Russell. And Russell had Chamberlain had 35, 40 points, 20 rebounds, and a whole bunch of blocks. And they'll lose, and people act like it's because Russell shut down Wilt because he blocked him like 3 times. That's just silliness, man. Stop romanticizing these players. They all make mistakes. The greats even make mistakes. What LeBron did, hey, he making mistakes. He's not perfect. No one is. So get off of it. All right. Peace.